Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Saturday. Welcome to Game Day Live, presented by the Let's Go Devils podcast network and joinourcrew.com. Welcome to Game Day Live. My name is Vinnie, Parise, and I am excited to welcome all fans watching on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever it is you get our podcast. I am here with my good friend Shorts Guy as we get you set for New Jersey Devils hockey against the Washington Capitals. Shorts Guy, the New Jersey Devils, they come into this game. I would consider them a hot hockey team right now. They entered a stretch of games, right? They weren't all at home. They weren't all on the road. Mostly on the road. Only one of them was at home. But they did this stretch where they played 2 against the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, and then 1 against the Tampa Bay Lightning, who won the last cup that Florida didn't. No, that's Vegas. They won the cup. They won the cup twice recently. And you got Carolina, who, although they don't have a cup, they've been in the Eastern Conference Finals. I bet if you were to clock the last 5 years of NHL hockey, who has the most points, Carolina's probably in the top 5. And then you have tonight the Washington Capitals, who they won the cup in 2018, but there's been a lot of turnover. There have been some up and down since then. But so far this year, they've been one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. That's a long 5-game stretch against what I would call elite teams. You could make it 4-1-0 in those games with a victory tonight. Got to be amped up if you're a Devils player looking to get a big win tonight in a situation like this.
Oh, absolutely. You know, on top of that, it's the Mother's Weekend. So they've got all their moms with them down there in Washington. So, you know, they all want to play well for their moms. And Washington, I'm going to say, is a team that's much better than I think any one of us would have assumed they would be at the beginning of the season, with just, you know, what they had, what they lost, what they were looking to, you know, bring in. Like, I know they upgraded their goaltending pretty well. But at the same time, like, we were not expecting this Washington Capitals team. We were expecting a wild card spot Washington Capital team, not a top of the Metro, fluctuating top of the Metro here and there Washington Capitals team. But this Washington Capitals team, they have our number recently, and we talked about this the last time we played them. You know, they do very well against us. They play us very well, and they've had our number the last bunch of games. So this is something that the Devils, you know what, you lost to them already this season. So, yeah, you will be amped up because you've played very well against some very good teams, and here's a team you want to seek some revenge against right now.
Absolutely. And, you know, you mentioned the game they lost in overtime, 6-5 on October 19th. They did beat Washington on October 12th. So it's a 1-1-0 stretch, and they play them tonight, and then they play them again on November 30th. I find it odd that they're done with a division rival before November's over. That's just an odd quirk in the schedule this year. Like, they'll be done with Washington before they play the Rangers at all. So that's an interesting little quirk in the schedule. In the last 10 games, the Devils are 7-3-0 and the Capitals are 6-3-1. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, but they've been moving those Devil Ranger games to later and later in the season in the last couple of years. So, you know, that's also been by their design too. So I just want to throw that out there.
Absolutely. On the season, the Devils have a 30% power play, top 5 in the league. Washington's only clicking at 16%, which is 25th, but their penalty kill is super elite. They are 4th in the NHL with an 87%. It's a matchup that I think on paper should favor the Devils, obviously, because I think their roster is just overall better. But I want to hear what you're thinking when you come into the Capitals, knowing that the Russian machine, Alexander Ovechkin, will be missing as he recovers from a little bit of a leg injury after just a red-hot start to the season when he was basically scoring every single game.
Yeah, you know, you've got to be – not that you want to see any player get injured, but you've got to think that is a bit of a advantage to you going into this game as a New Jersey Devil player, because you have to assume that as their leader, the rest of the team was following the example of Ovechkin, because Ovechkin going into the season, I don't think any of us would have assumed he would have been on the goal-scoring tear that he's been on all season. I think a lot of people were joking like, oh, yeah, he's going to get a lot of empty net chances, this and that. Man, he's been legitimately scoring goals, and I feel like the rest of the team is saying, you know what? If he could do it, so can we. Now that's gone. So now we have to see if the Caps can survive without him for a little bit, because I think I read 3 to 4 weeks for that injury, so it's going to be a pretty lengthy one. So we'll see.
It got up to
But
4-6.
now up to 4-6. Okay, so I'm a New
But
Jersey Devils,
he was
but
seen today outside the locker room with no cast, no nothing, just a slight limp and a smile on his face. So, do I think he'll be
sounds like
back before
Russian.
November 30th? No. But do I think he'll play in December and still threaten for the goal record this year? Yes, I do. Absolutely.
That sounds like a Russian Red Army player right there.
Yep. The
You get
gas,
this
the old
massive
gas.
injury.
Yep.
But I think as a New Jersey Devil player, you're hoping that this is a letdown for the Capitals, but you cannot go into the game assuming that's going to be the case. You still have to prepare for this game as if Alexander Ovechkin is on that ice and ready to go. Like that's the type of mindset you have to go into into this game for you. So you have to prepare for that team that that defeated you, and that's. I can't remember if we've asked Chico this or not, but I would like to get Chico's thoughts the next time we have him on about those teams that you can't get a win against. Like, what is that mindset like? Like, I know what it's like as a beer leaguer and growing up, but as an NHL player, like I would love I'm gonna put that on my list of questions for Chico next time I see him. What's that like going to that game? Do you go into those games a little bit differently? Does it weigh on your mind? But because it's got to, I have to assume it has to weigh on your mind when you're going into a game like this for a team it's had your number for a while.
Absolutely. And so we'll see how they're able to kind of maybe get a win here against Washington. Now, then you're 2-1 against them this season. Maybe that theory that they don't play against Washington kind of evaporates a little bit. They're able to kind of go strong because it very well could be a playoff opponent. Whether it is Washington falling. Yeah, whether or not it's Washington falling into a wild card spot or New Jersey falling into a wild card spot, one of them winning the Metro and the other being in the wild card spot, or if the New York Rangers come up and win the Metro and Carolina slips a little bit, they meet as the 2 and 3 seed in the division, or if the Rangers stay exactly where they are and Carolina stays exactly where they are, then it's a 2-3 matchup again. So there's there's a chance that if either of these teams want to make it to the conference finals, they'd have to go through one another. So we'll see how they're able to kind of respond today. A pair I wanted to talk about in this one leading into this game has been the duo known as Peanut Butter and Jelly in New Jersey Devils land. Jesper Bratt and Jack Hughes have been two of the best forwards in the NHL in the month of November. I think most people would consider them two of the best forwards in the NHL in general, especially Jack Hughes. But what have you seen from this duo lately as they each had 3 points in their most recent game, the victory over the Carolina Hurricanes?
I'm drawing a blank against. I think it was against the Hurricanes. The goal where Jack put it across to Jesper Bratt, and without thinking, Bratt put it in like across it was just across the goal mouth. I think that was against the Canes.
It was against the Canes.
Yeah, my mind's a little blurry today. I'm under the weather. But that right there shows the skill that Jack has to put that pass to Bratt, and the skill that Bratt has to, in that millisecond of time, get his stick on the puck and put it in the net. We're seeing Jack the assist machine this year, because that assist was fantastic. And the sauce pass to Nason, picking it out of the air, was fantastic. But the peanut butter and jelly combo, those two seem to just be, when you have a good line mate, you do not have to look where they are. You just know they're in a position, and those two seem to have that little bit of telepathy right now. I coached two kids years ago, and they never had to look for the other. They just threw the puck, and the other was always there. It was amazing, and that seems to be what Jack and Jesper have at this point. And you love to see it. Like, that's a chemistry you cannot buy. That's a chemistry that just is there, and you ride it until it's not.
Absolutely. And for those who don't know, if you don't realize the assist Shorts guy was talking about, I think it was the third goal the Devils scored in the game against Carolina. Jack Hughes made a beautiful saucer pass to Stefan Nason, who then got it to Bratt. Bratt comes to the middle of the ice, shoots and scores. The fact that the pass that Jack made.
Oh no, that's not the. That's not the goal I was talking about. I'm talking about the one that Jack sent to Nason and he picked it out of the
And
air.
Nason scored. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, all three of his assists in that game were magnificent.
Yes.
Okay, so I thought you were talking about the one where Bratt ended
No,
up scoring. That
but
goal
that was
to
a
me
good one
was
too.
insane too,
That was a great goal
because
too. That one's hard to
Slavin,
defend against.
and he did it against Slavin, who like
Mm-hmm.
every year they make those lists on NHL.com of like the top 20 defensemen in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
Slavin's always on it. And if you were to make a list of just the true defensive defensemen best in the NHL, Slavin's probably top 5.
Yeah.
So just remarkable stuff from Jack Hughes. That first one you touched on, though, where Jack Hughes kind of like made that pass out of midair to Bratt, and Bratt was smart enough to like be ready for it. I think
Mm-hmm.
that is single-handedly one of the prettiest assists that
Oh yeah.
Jack Hughes or any Devils player has had, at least in the last 10 years. Even when the goal was first scored, Bill Spalding, Ken Danigo, and Bryce Salvador all thought that it was like just a deflection in front that landed on Brad's
No,
stick,
there's more
luckily. And
skill.
then you slow it down and you
Yeah.
see Jack Hughes is never looking at the net. He is looking at Brad the entire time and he pushes it to him out of midair. It literally was like a video game caliber goal. I picked up
Yep.
my phone right away and I just tweeted, Jack Hughes scored the prettiest goal I've ever seen. Or assist, one of the prettiest assists I've ever seen a Devils player have. I specify a Devils player because like Edmonton Oilers fans will laugh at my
Mm-hmm.
face because like Connor McDavid does this stuff on a regular basis. Leon
Yep.
Draisaitl is one of the 5 best passers in the NHL as well. But to see a Devils player be that skilled and that smart, it just warms my heart. I love this kid. I'll never say it, but Jack Hughes, he'll go cold here and there. It happens. He's going to
Yep.
have 100 points if he stays healthy and lead the Devils to a playoff spot, and they'll be a threat once the playoffs come around. He's one of the best players in Devils history, and it's only been a handful.
Oh
He's
yeah.
23. He's
I
23.
know.
They came
Just
out.
gonna get
They
better.
came out with this ranking. Exactly. They came out with this ranking on TSN every year, where they rank the best players that are affiliated with an NHL team 1 through 50, and you have to
Mm-hmm.
have been drafted or signed by an NHL team and be under 23. So like Hagens, who's going to be the number 1 pick in this upcoming draft, or Gavin McKenna next year's draft, they're not on this list. It's only guys who have been drafted. Jack Hughes was 2 last year behind Connor Bedard. This year, they flipped
Yep.
him. Jack Hughes is the number 1 ranked player in the NHL or associated with the NHL that's 23 or under. That guy's a devil. He's on our
Mm-hmm.
team, and he's going to be on our team for a long time. And he's going to be cheap on our team for a long time, too.
Yeah.
His next contract, if the Devils are
It's
able
gonna be
to
big.
retain him,
It'll be big.
it'll be a big boy contract. But the salary cap's
Mm-hmm.
going up by 5 mil, so. And Andre Palat will come off the books. The Devils are in good shape. They're in real good
They
shape
are.
with Jack Hughes. And Nico Hischier, quite frankly. We didn't even touch. Meyer's like their 4th best forward. Timo Meier would be the number 1 scorer on most teams in the league. He's the Devils' 4th best forward. And it's not particularly close.
And speaking of Palat's showing up again finally.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
you mentioned him in passing,
a
it'll be
little
off the
thing.
books. That keep
Yep.
at the blue line in the last game was insane. Like that's
Yep.
just a heads up keep to use your skate, to keep it on the blue line, to keep the puck from going over the blue line, to cause that goal. You know, that's the Bratt goal we're talking about. That starts with Andre
Yep.
Palat.
And it's
You know, that
Jack Hughes turned the puck over.
I know.
Jack Hughes
I
went from
know.
being a dog on the play, like he probably would have gotten screamed at on
Mhm.
the bench.
Mhm.
Palat keeps it in, sends it back to Jack. He makes the beautiful play. Everybody forgets that Hughes turned the puck over in the first place and forced Palat to make that great play. But
That's a heads up play
you're
by
right.
Palat to be there.
Absolutely.
Be there to make that play and then to bring the puck from your skate to your stick, seeing Jack rushing down the other end. If you've never done it, it's difficult. It's so difficult, especially dead speed. Especially dead
Yeah,
speed.
you're-
So it's that whole goal from start to finish, from turnover to slotting it home, was incredible.
Absolutely. What have you seen as the goalie representative on this show and on this network? What is your analysis of what we've seen so far from both Jake Allen and Jacob Markstrom?
I think Jake Allen, we're seeing what we had last year with Jake Allen. Just a really solid goaltender who's there for a job, and that job is just to be as solid as he possibly can. That Tampa game aside, that's a fluke. You know, that's one of those games where you have him occasionally, and other than that, I mean, he has 2 shutouts this year, and to have your backup goalie give you 2 shutouts. Jacob Markstrom, I like his play. His glove side seemed to be a weakness, but he seems to be working on that and seems to be improving that. And we're getting play out of him that I think is incredible. He played very well in his 500th game the other night, and I think that if he keeps this up, the ability and the trust to have in Jake Allen means that Jacob Markstrom can take a night off and be a backup, and we'll still get solid goaltending from Jake Allen. This is exactly what we've needed from our goaltenders, which begs the question: had we brought in Jake Allen maybe 3 weeks sooner last year, 4 weeks sooner, would we have snuck into the playoff spot?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And there was also injury last year. Jack Hughes probably doesn't. They probably don't shut him down as early as they did if they're in a playoff spot, because like you play it through the playoffs with injuries like he had, like the shoulder injury that he had last year. You see guys who make the playoffs have that surgery whenever they're done. The Devils were so far out that they kind of got an early go at it, and I'm obviously probably pretty happy that they did because they weren't making the playoffs. But yeah, with the goaltending, I can't confirm who's starting tonight. I don't know. It's either obviously going to be Allen or Markstrom. I assume it's going to be Markstrom just because he is the number one, and if there's multiple days in between games, he's probably going to go both of them. I do see that Charlie Lindgren is going to be starting for the Washington Capitals tonight, so got to get bodies in front, got to play hard, got to see Jack and Jesper do what they do best, and it should be a fun one. So I think it's about that time of the show, Shorts Guy, where we move into getting some predictions in. We're going to make our predictions brought to you by joinourcrew.com. Make sure you go to joinourcrew.com and sign up so that you know everything that's going on with the Let's Go Devils podcast. We do live events. We sporadically do shows. We have the shows that are always on a certain schedule that you already know about, like this one, anywhere from 2 hours to an hour before every Devils game. Depending on everyone's schedule, but it's always before a Devils game. Haven't missed a beat.
Yes.
You're going to want to sign up, and so you're notified about all these things. So go to joinourcrew.com. Shorts Guy, what do you think is going to happen in tonight's New Jersey Devils versus Washington Capitals game?
Well, first, I like the fact that I see our listeners and watchers are throwing their predictions into the chat. I think the Devils have to just keep rolling and do what they've been doing. They've been scoring goals. I think it was I think the Carolina game was a very, very big character building game because they had that ability to just kind of go and win a very cagey affair against the Hurricanes. And if we just keep rolling like this against the Capitals, let's just bring this home. A 5-2 Devils victory tonight.
5-2 Devils victory from Mr. Shorts Guy. I love to hear that. That's honestly great. I'm going to look through the YouTube and see if we have any predictions.
I've got the YouTube here if you want me to read it.
I got it. So Max says he wants to point out that he wants to see Jack bank one off of the goalie's head soon. He's kind of due for a goalie goal off the,
he hasn't done that yet.
Off the head.
Not in a while.
You obviously like. I think that shows incredible offensive awareness. Like when you're able to do something like that. So hopefully that's able to happen. Max says 5-3 Devils. Select the Boy says 4-2 Devils. Joseph says 5-1 Devils. Brian 5-2 Devils. Steve Engel 4-2 Devils. Brooke 5-2 Devils. 5-2 Devils from IDK. They also predict a Jack hat trick, a Jack trick. Dubs says 4-2 Devils. Jack with 2 goals. A lot of Jack love today. I mean, he's playing on fire. I can't really say I blame anyone. Zach says 5-3 Devils. And he wants to point out that it's Timo time. I agree. I'm looking for a Timo Meyer goal. I went to the movie today. I saw Wicked, and my total for our treats, the popcorn and soda, was $28. I looked at Katie. I go, Timo Meyer scoring tonight. Eddie says 5-2 Devils with an empty netter. And then Absurd says 1-0 Devils. And then Lapfuzz Lebowski says 4-1 New Jersey Devils. If they win 1-0, I'll be super happy. But by the end of the game, I'll have no nails left if that were the case.
AJ Visco, attorney at law, says he's getting ready for the rodeo, but he thinks 7-1 Devils tonight.
I did miss that one. It didn't blend in because the score wasn't right at the beginning.
Nope.
Not that you need to put the score right at the beginning. I need to have better eyeballs. Um, but yeah,
I was also
7-1
looking
from
for AJ
AJ.
too. So,
Yeah,
by the way,
that's true.
Brooke Amanda, I think is very jealous that you saw Wicked before her.
Oh, highly recommend. It was spectacular. I would equivalent it to like a 7-1 New Jersey Devils victory. It was awesome. I loved
Brought
it.
to you by
I
brought to you
absolutely
by
loved it.
AJ Visco, attorney at law.
AJ Visco, attorney at law. Hey, if you ever need to pay someone to do an ad read for you, I'm your guy. I got a good voice that I think I can read
Yes,
and
you do.
do it the way I need to. AJ Visco, attorney at law. See the fine print for details. Jim Norton
Oh,
also
got the
says
lawyer.
5-0 Devils. Mike 3-3. No. Oh, they're all talking about how the Wild tied it against the Calgary Flames. I did
Okay.
see they were down 3-1. Our boy Yegor Sharangovich had the most recent goal last time I looked, and they were winning 3-1. So now it seems like the Minnesota Wild, who have been chef's kiss good in the Western Conference
They
so
have
far this
been.
season. One of my favorite teams to watch. When they're not playing the Devils, I root for them. So yeah, we'll see how it happens with that. I believe the Devils are going to beat the Washington Capitals today, 4-2. I got a 4-2
Too.
ball game for them. I think it's going to be a game where they're able to kind of, you know, just get your average win against the Capitals. If you
Yeah.
get your average
Oh yeah.
4-2 victory against Washington, you come out with the victory, you get 2 points, and then you could say you went 4-1-0 in a 5-game stretch against four
Mm-hmm.
of the six best teams in the Eastern Conference.
Oh,
And
totally.
someone replied to one of my tweets because I wrote something about how this stretch was going to be important for them this season, this upcoming stretch of games against good teams. And someone replied, must win at least 3. And I think I agreed with that at the time. And if they lose tonight,
Mm-hmm.
they'll still have gotten those 3.
They'll still
But
gotten the
now
three.
going
Yeah.
into the last game, I'm like a little selfish. I'm like, let's get 4. Really
Yeah. Let's get
show
four.
this league that little slump they went on to close out October when they lost to Detroit and the Islanders back to back, and like they gave up that
Mm-hmm.
goal to Detroit late. They tied it against the Islanders late, but then lost in overtime. I would love to see that just be proof that Sheldon Keefe's new system, Jack was still getting his feet wet under him a little bit this season. Now
Mm-hmm.
everybody's fully going. He sure's not scoring goals at an 82 goal pace anymore, but he's got 10 goals still in the first 20 games, which is remarkable.
Yeah.
And he's still making incredible plays defensively and offensively to set up other people's goals. That's going to happen. When you got guys who aren't one dimensional, Heischer's going to go through a stretch where he has 10 straight assists, 10 straight goals. Bratt, same thing. Bratt's scoring all the
Yep.
goals right now. Don't be surprised if in 2 weeks, Jack is scoring all the goals and Bratt's the one making those beautiful passes. It is
Oh
all
yeah.
there for the New Jersey Devils to take. So, Shorts guy, this has been a great show doing this with you. I don't know if we're going to be able to cue up the music here within the next couple seconds, but you got anything else you want to be able to say to close it out?
No, it's going to be a good game tonight. I'm looking forward just to laying down and watching this game and enjoying it. Hopefully, come out with a Devils victory. But Vinny, you and I are seeing a lot of each other over the next week. There's a lot of games coming up. There's a lot of
They
games in the
really
next.
are. It was nice to have all those days off last
Mm-hmm.
week, and you play on Sunday, or I think it was Saturday even, and then you don't play again until Thursday. It's like, well, the Devils, hey,
Mm-hmm.
they had that trip to Prague. They have played more games than most teams in the league, and they have all this time off. You saw what they look like when they have all that time off against Carolina. And
Yep.
then you come into this Thanksgiving week that we're about to start, and that doesn't include tonight's game, but starting this week, there's going to be a lot of Devils hockey. So
And
getting
then
through the
another break,
Thanksgiving
a Ranger
yeah,
game, and then another decent break too. So it's going to be, we're gonna get our time in this week. Close out this one. Take tomorrow off. You got Monday coming right back up with Nashville, which that's going to be a really good game coming in. Nashville's loaded up. So we got a lot of good hockey to watch this week. So I'm excited, and I know you're excited because you can't get enough hockey. But
yeah,
yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
absolutely. And you say I can't get enough. That's true. I do want the Devils to. I want them to be healthy and like slow down
Hmm.
just a tad. Like I can't wait to get through this week of thing. I'll watch other hockey. I'm at the United Center twice a week. Like I'll be fine on my hockey watching. I want the Devils to be healthy and getting ready to go for the second half of the season. But while we kind of wait for our buddy Sam Wu to close out the show, no,
Sorry,
we
I
don't
was
even have to
talking-
wait.
I was actually talking to Scotty and lost track of time. Sorry.
Love it. Love Scotty.
Scotty at Sirius XM
Yeah.
Liquid Metal.
Yeah, I was admonishing him for skipping the podcast last podcast, Devils After Dark, which is after the game, for his celebrity friends.
You're going to want to tune into Devils After Dark because they're going to get a nice victory tonight against the Washington Capitals, eh, Sam?
Absolutely, because 83-0 is a very, very good beatdown.
I was just going to ask for your prediction before we close out. 83-0.
Yeah.
How many
For
football
Sam
calls?
Wu
in
and
those
the New Jersey Devils.
Yep.
You would have to
That's
score
gonna be a
more
lot
than
of
one
football
goal a
calls.
minute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of football
Yeah,
calls.
yeah,
Every
yeah,
single
yeah.
player on the team has a hat trick. Oh, 100%. So for Shorts Guy, Sam Wu, I'm Vinnie Parise. Thank you as always. Let's go Devils.